And meanwhile, a separate incident of violence allegedly involving Mduduzi Manana has emerged. A woman named Zintle Mokhohlane claims Manana assaulted her last month. The incident allegedly occurred at Nesto Lounge in Ermelo, and the woman opened a case against him. Joining us live in studio, Siyabulela Gentile is the Chief Executive Officer and co-founder of #NotInMyName_SA. And on the line, we have Melikaya from the Eastern Cape. Thanks so much for joining us, Buti. Your comment just in the latest development and considering the stature of the alleged perpetrator in this case.
Cindy. Hello, Cindy. It's very wrong, Cindy. That's the point number one. Let us take out the issue of being a minister or what. But we will condemn it in its strongest terms. Whatever the minister has done, he was wrong. If he was in wrong areas, he should be taken by SAPS members to the awaiting trial prison, because he must be taken to the court. Now that he's a member of the highest making decision board, a cabinet, the cabinet minister, you need to act on that, because he's the one who goes around preaching that you must act like this when you're around women. We must not do this, we must not do this, but he's the one to do it. He was supposed to be taken to the SAPS, yes, regardless of his position in the country. Yeah.
Melika, I strongly agree with you, and I think for me the indictment is also spectators, people that were present and literally just standing, watching this whole thing unfold. Let's take another caller, Delisha in Rudaport, and we'll have our guest in studio to ventilate this further. Good evening to you, Delisha.
Hi, dear, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm fine. Okay, my view is that, the minister is a person who's sitting at a leadership role. Clearly, it means he does not have control of his character, and it means if some of his peers are going to question him, he's going to actually explode. So it's really what's wrong, what he did. He's supposed to stay away from debate. He is emotionally unstable.
Yeah, now it's showing a lack of emotional maturity, as you're saying, Delisha. But, it's not unique, this incident. We've seen in recent months the high level of brutality against a woman, the high level of femicide, the case of Karabo, still in the courts at the moment. But thanks so much for calling. Mike in Mamelodi, good evening to you.
Evening, sister.
Yes, sir.
I got a problem with this minister, seriously. To start with, he was arguing about the president, who to replace the president as yet. And in other words, there are the people who are sabotaging this country prior to us seeing what the president can do and whatsoever, because they wanted to benefit in certain ways than the way they are already benefiting. I mean, beating a woman out of an argument, not necessarily meaning that we don't know what had transpired, but I mean, about who has to replace who, and nobody has been kicked out as yet.
Mike, thanks so much. Commissioner with the Commission for Gender Equality. And as we mentioned, Siyabulela Gentile is the Chief Executive Officer and co-founder of #NotInMyName_SA. And Sanja Bornman is an attorney managing the Lawyers for Human Rights and Gender Equality, joining us via Skype. We'll start with you, Sanja. Just in how society has generally reacted to extreme cases of violence we've seen with the Spur incident, we almost at a lack of the ability, or how to react to it besides going on social media, but you hear very little else as to how the perpetrators are held to account. What is your view?
Well, I think you're correct in saying that, we all suddenly turn into armchair activists and clicking activists, and there's a lot of outrage around these sorts of incidents. And that's why I think it's really important that there be consequences here. And, it's good to apologize and it's good that the minister has acknowledged that he's made a mistake and that he's done something that is really reprehensible. But unfortunately, it cannot end there. There now has to be accountability. And personally, I think as LHR, we would like to see the minister resigning from his position as the honorable thing to do. He's clearly not a man who should be in a leadership position.
Just stay on the line with us, please. We have Spirit from Mokopane. Good evening to you. Thanks for calling.
Hello, Mama.
Hi.
Ninjani ke Mama?
Siyaphila sinezwa nini?
Yaphila Mama, bendifuna ukhomenda Mama malungana nendaba ka Minister uMduduzi ngapha.
Kulungile ba?
Mama, bendiqonda into ukuba kufuneka izishamthetho ke zijonge kakuhle le ndaba ngoba uyabona omama okoko kuthiwa bangasiwa sandla. Yes, sisupporta loo nto into umuntu akafanelanga bethu Mama. Kodwa xa ujonge even nale picture ngendlela evele ngaphathi kwabantu Mama. Ayishamthatho mazike zilungise lento ngoba omama ngathi ngoku sebehlukumeza ngentetha ende umuntu udaliwe Mama ngendlela adalwe ngayo. Ngoku umthetho uyabekwa kodwa ubekwa ngendlela into ba ungabhalansi amasayidi wonke ngoba lo tata xa ungamjonga lesenzo senzile sibuhlungu kodwa uprovoke ke kabuhlungu ngendlela abonisa ngayo.
I will have to agree to disagree, Spirit. Ukuthi provocation then justifies for a man to beat up a defenseless woman or omdlulayo ngomzimba nangamandla. I fail to rationalize ukuthi if you are provoked or umuntu uyakupusha therefore ku right ukuthi umuntu womama umshaye. No, it's just it doesn't hold water. Zakes in the Eastern Cape, good evening to you.
Hello, Cindy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
No, fine. No, I think, Cindy, what the Deputy Minister has done is totally wrong. It's totally unjustifiable. And the good decision for the ANC, firstly, is to call him into order. In fact, he must step down, nothing else. He must step down because that's not the kind of caliber that we want to see to people that are leading us, that we voted for. At the very same time, are the ones that are assaulting us, more especially women.
Yeah, Zaik's point taken. Thanks so much. Just in the interest of time, very quickly, in terms of the hashtag not in my name _SA, how effective are the hashtags, beyond the marching and workshops with your fellow brothers and men?
They're generally very effective, but as I always say, they're not sufficient. I believe that there's a lot that all of us as South Africans we can do, both male and female. But yes, it goes beyond just the hashtag. It goes beyond the campaign. I always say that campaigns have got an ending time. There's a point where campaigns die down as soon as the issues that are pending at that time die down. So then it means at that moment, the people need to actually rise up, and movements like Not in My Name SA actually are now required to do something about these things. And we are actively participating in the communities on this. We attend court cases, we picket outside the courts, we march, we do all these things, we arrange workshops and things like that. So it's the little that we are doing, and unfortunately it's not enough.
Yeah, but clearly even in terms of gender-based violence, creating awareness, one of the callers saying, but if you push a man to a level where he cannot contain himself, therefore you brought it upon yourself. It's no different from some arguing that if a woman wears a miniskirt and becomes intoxicated, she therefore is calling for rape. There's something seriously wrong with this paradigm.
We are appalled by such comments. We cannot continuously defend the indefendable. No amount of provocation can warrant a man in this day and age, particularly those in higher offices, to slap a woman and later on say I should have known better. Even when they were being restrained by other people, one of the patrons was there and said that I should have known better, I should have done better, my actions are inexcusable, and therefore the half-baked apology. It is very wrong. That's why in our statement that we issued today, we say that, Mr. Manana has to be suspended, or else on his own accord he can resign and step down to say that, set a very good precedent in South Africa to say, look, not men, as with the patriarchal mentality which is there in society, it is us as men that perpetuate these things. It is us men who can also help to stop it. So he must lead by an example, and then he will redeem himself in the public eye, in the public sphere, that he has done the honorable thing. We cannot hog to power and limelight when we continuously and continue to abuse women. Women are there in society to be protected, and they have to be free wherever they socialize. So what he has done, it is uncalled for, it's unjustified, it's not justified. That's why the commission has said we will investigate this case on our own because the law allows us to do so.
Yeah, and Sanya, I mean, how do you deal with the culture of impunity, and depending, of course, whether you have the resources or your stature in society, whether there's leniency even when punishment is meted, there doesn't seem to be a strong national approach to dealing with gender violence.
Well, I think you make a very important point, and therein lies the real frustration for us as activists. We talk a lot, we condemn a lot, we speak a lot about how gender-based violence and violence against women and children is a scourge in South Africa. But what are we really doing to hold perpetrators account, especially when those perpetrators are people who are in positions of power, people who are leaders, setting the example supposedly for the rest of us? And that's why it's really, really important that we do not let this go. What the Deputy Minister has done is disgusting, and he needs to resign as a result. Some things are just so big that you can't fix them. Some mistakes can't be fixed. And in a case like this, he cannot stay in his position and continue to hold that position of power under the circumstances. It sends the complete wrong message, and we as the South African people deserve better. We deserve leaders who respect women. We deserve leaders who put their money where their mouths are and who act according to the way that they speak out in public.
And then just from your organization, Mr. Gentile, hashtag, if you juxtapose that with the hashtag men are trash, and we know that, you know, it's an unfair generalization, but from what we see, it's very difficult to stand up, or even as a woman, if you don't understand the vulnerability of what it means driving home at night while you're standing idling at your gate. The first thing that you think about is the potential possibility, real threat of being attacked in your own country, where it's supposed to be a place where you feel home and you can trust your fellow man.
Firstly, perhaps I should make it clear that Not In My Name it's a movement more than any other thing. It's not just a hashtag. Secondly, it's not anti-men are trash. We didn't come up with it, or we didn't run with it as a way of defending ourselves, because that's what we've been doing as men of South Africa, and it's wrong. In fact, we believe that we should be taking responsibility, all of us, responsibly, whether you are an abuser or you are not. So in fact, just to comment quickly on the issue of the Deputy Minister, if I may. As Not In My Name, I say, our stance is clear. We don't only need him to resign or to be fired, but he must resign, or he must be forced to resign and go to prison. I believe that we need to set an example, and it's a challenge to the Minister of Police. He must act and do something about this.
But I mean, why does it have to be the burden of society to have to call the Deputy Minister to do the right thing, including other perpetrators? Many of us can share horror stories, personally so, of being in an abusive relationship, especially if you are strong-willed and you are an opinionated woman, whatever it is. There's that cultural patriarchy as well, that you do not speak to me in a particular way, Mr. Baloyi. So how then do we encourage gender equality? We promote and sing about the Constitution, and yet our women are being victimized and killed.
We have normalized gender-based violence in South Africa. We think that, you know, it's a daily occurrence thing, nothing will be done. Because of the systematic issues which are there, the police should have moved very fast in this issue. They didn't have to wait for even for the Minister of the Police to comment, and didn't have to wait for the President to issue a statement. Someone has been beaten, someone is badly bruised, someone was on the ground, the patrons didn't do anything. Even the license owners of those who issue license should have also moved very fast to the area to say, look, you didn't do what you were supposed to do. What are the bouncers for? So that's why there's a culture of impunity in South Africa, that, you know, you'll find people who are not supposed to be doing certain things are doing them. And we ask the nearest police station where the case has been opened, what is it that they've done now? Are they taking South Africans to their confidence to say, this is something we're doing? And what about Mandlamini or Gogondlamini somewhere on the rural areas who doesn't have anyone to speak about? And what we're urging for as a commission, the lady in question who has been beaten, also, we must also condemn what the brother said to the Deputy Minister. The violence violence beget violence. He perpetuated violence in a wrong way also. And also, we're not saying that, the lady in question, whatever she has said to the minister, deputy minister, being gay or stuff like those, it's not reason enough for him to have slept there. What we are calling for as a gender commission, we're saying the lady mustn't be swayed in dropping the charges. She must take it and see it through.
Mr. Gentile, very briefly, in terms of calling for action amongst fellow South Africans?
Yeah, please, calling especially to men, because I always say women don't rape themselves, women don't abuse themselves. It is us men who are doing all these things to them. So I'd like to call out on all men who we are able to reach at this point to come out to the streets, actually, because all these other things are not helping us. We need to be honest as South Africa to say, you know what, we've tried all else. We need to demonstrate as the people. We need to be united and demonstrate physically on the ground, because this is where these things are happening. So the men must put down their phones and stop this culture of tweeting and Facebooking and doing all these other things that are not taking us anywhere. They should come join us and do something about these things practically.
We're going to leave it there. Thanks indeed. Javu Baloyi, Commissioner with the Commission for Gender Equality, Siyabulela Gentile, Chief Executive Officer and co-founder of #NotInMyName_SA, and Sanya Bornman is an attorney managing the Lawyers for Human Rights Gender Equality program, joining us via Skype. And thanks indeed for calling in as well. We hope we've created at least some semblance of safety and security for women in South Africa. We're back after this.